Welcome to another episode of The Business Edge, brought to you by Central Willamette Credit Union. My name is Michelle, and I'm your host today, and we're talking about something that affects every business owner, regardless of industry, and that is workforce development. Finding skilled employees, training new team members, and preparing for the next generation for successful careers are challenges many local businesses face every day. So our guest today is Rhonda Rhodes, principal of the Career Technical Education Center, better known as CTEC. CTEC serves students throughout the Salem-Keizer School District, providing hands-on, career-focused education that prepares students for both college and the workforce. So Rhonda, welcome to the Business Edge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So for listeners who may not be familiar with CTEC is, can you tell us a little bit about the school and its mission?
Absolutely. The idea for CTEC was actually born in the private sector, and that's one of the things that makes us so unique and different. The CEO of Mountain West Investment and Real Estate Development Corporation had this dream that school could be different, that we could operate differently if education and industry could actually come together and partner. And in that way, we could let young people explore their unique interests, talents, and abilities and find their future path and actually prepare them to add value to the companies in our community. So Mountain West, and while they weren't educators, they were from private industry. They had this dream of bringing education and industry together, and they purchased the old Nielsen Metals Inc. manufacturing plant in Salem and paid to remodel 2 program spaces a year over a 5-year rollout, a $17 million project that was literally just their gift to the young people in Salem and to our entire community and broader area.
Wow, that's amazing. And then, so what makes it, aside from its origins, what makes the program special and unique from anything else in Salem?
I think it's a couple of things. Career technical education is not unique to CTEC. It exists across the nation. It exists within high schools in all of our local communities. But the depth of programming at CTEC is very unique. And we have what we call our CTEC 4 pillars that really make the way we operate unique. In terms of our setup and how we were designed with Mountain West and Salem-Keizer Public Schools, that partnership, a young person will apply to CTEC in 10th grade, and they get to come for 2 years. So we get to have them for 2 years, and literally half of their schedule, we have them 2.5 days a week for a 2-year period of time. So you can imagine the depth you're able to go into. They're immersed in their industry for literally half of their time in school. And it just allows us to really train them and educate them in a different way. In terms of what looks different, generally speaking, within a traditional school, teachers tend to be isolated within their own classrooms. Their curriculum tends to be taught in isolation, and students just kind of go from one class to the next and don't necessarily have the ability to connect anything they're learning to their own life and their own future. And I know this because I was a math teacher. The famous phrase that all math teachers have heard in their lives is, when are we ever going to use this, right?
Yes.
And so at CTEC, that's not a question that we get because everything is relevant and relevant and connected to their future career path. It just allows us to do things differently. But I think with Mountain West's original dream of bringing industry and education together, we have industry on our campus weekly, if not daily. So imagine going from taking classes in isolation to being part of a community where you're working alongside industry professionals all the time as a 16, 17, 18-year-old. It just changes the game in every manner possible. So industry involvement was one of the key pillars that we started out with. And if you want industry to come back to the table again and again, it needs to be a rewarding experience for them as well. And I think what makes it so rewarding is one of our other pillars, which is professional skills training. All of our industry partners, all the employers in our local community really care more about that than the technical skills. A young person might come to CTEC to learn to weld or to learn to paint cars or whatever those technical skills are, but what employers really want is someone who's accountable, who will arrive on time, who can communicate, work as part of a team, be productive, take initiative. And so we explicitly teach and train these skills that really these young people have never been exposed to anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Why would we think they should know them if they've never had the chance to learn them? This is a huge focus in every one of our 10 programs. So when industry partners come onto campus to work with what we call our young professionals, that's what we call our students, they are engaging with someone who's communicating, who's productive, who understands work ethic. And that is so refreshing and rewarding to our industry partners that it keeps them coming to the table over and over again. So I think two of the key things you would see at CTEC that you wouldn't see in a traditional high school are industry right there in the building, or our young professionals going out into their industry spaces, and then our young professionals conducting themselves as if they're employees in the workplace. And those are two of our key pillars that I think really set us apart.
So you're really teaching life skills. You know, not just the technical aspects, but really setting them up for what's expected of them in terms of being an adult, being responsible, showing up on time, all of those things that I think employers worry about with this next generation.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, any skill that you have, the first time you're trying to do something, you're not going to excel at it, but with practice, with feedback, with repetition, you're going to grow. And professionalism skills are no different. A lot of people call them soft skills, employability skills. We refer to them as professional skills, but they can be taught, they can be trained with feedback. It's amazing the growth young people can have. But I think it's silly for us to expect or blame young people for not having skills that they haven't had the chance to learn.
And it's about what is expected out of somebody who's never been in the workforce, who's never had a job, who never had any accountability other than did you do your homework kind of thing. So I think those are amazing things to be learning at such a young age.
I agree, and our industry partners are so excited to see young people with those skills because I believe a lot of employers are losing the belief that young people have these skills or can acquire them. And I think that is what helps keep our industry partners coming back to the table.
That they're seeing such professionalism, and are they enjoying that?
You know, when you can really engage with a young person who has a passion, and that young person is so excited about the thing that you do every day, that you do well, I think it's really rewarding for the industry partners who come. You know, we have some retired machinists who volunteer twice a week in our manufacturing, welding, and engineering program, and they are absolute experts in their craft. And when they step in the door and these young people cannot wait to learn from them, that's what they want. They want to be able to pass on their knowledge and their skill set to someone who actually cares, is interested, has a passion, will work hard at it. And so it's really rewarding on both sides of the coin. Our young professionals benefit immensely, but I feel that our volunteers and industry partners do as well.
So what kinds of industries do you cover at CTEC?
Sure, we have 10 programs.
Okay.
The first two programs, when CTEC opened, because again, that was a 5-year rollout with Mountain West, we opened with two of kind of our flagship programs. So we have our residential construction and home design program. Students literally design and build a home from the ground up each year. As seniors, they are selling a home on the open market.
Wow.
I think when I tell people that, they assume it's a cute little box with a roof on it, but I'm talking about a 1,1700 square foot, 3 to 4 bedroom home.
An actual home.
Yes, absolutely, that a family would move into. So and then manufacturing, welding, and engineering were the first two programs that opened at CTEC. And then cosmetology, where our students literally operate a student-run salon. People can come in and get services for hair, nails, and
just
aesthetics.
Like any other cosmetology school.
Right. Any beauty college you can go in, and there's someone training in barbering, and you can get your hair cut. You know, someone training for nails, and you can get your mani-pedi. And so they are 16, 17, 18, but they're operating our student-run salon. In addition to construction, manufacturing, cosmetology, we have a video and game design program. So they are creating commercials for companies in our community as part of the video program, and creating digital assets that could be used in films or games in their design portion. We have an aviation program literally located at the Salem Airport, CTEC Aviation, where our young professionals train for drone piloting, airplane piloting, or aircraft maintenance. We have auto body repair and paint, so our young professionals perform minor collision repair, automotive painting, detailing, things like that. We have culinary arts and management, where our young professionals operate the CTEC Cafe and perform catering for different groups. Biotechnology and medical science, and that is such an amazing high-tech program. I think we have young professionals and they're doing things a lot of people don't get to do until graduate school.
Wow.
So that's really exciting and rewarding. And then those are more private sector. Two of our public sector programs are criminal justice.
Okay.
Where our young professionals are training for anything from 911 dispatch to law enforcement to corrections to the court side, advocates, attorneys, things like that. And our probably newest, most unique program that was the first of its kind in the nation when we opened it is Behavioral Health and Human Services.
Okay.
A very unique, very exciting program.
Yeah, so you are really, these kids are really working on a college level in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. They are, in nearly every case for our programs, there are dual credit opportunities. So they're literally earning college credit as they're doing their training, and they're earning industry credentials. So with behavioral health, for example, they will leave with a qualified mental health assistant certification or a peer support specialist certification. They can go to work in entry-level careers now. In that particular program, a lot of them are university-bound to become therapists, social workers, special education teachers, things like that.
All right. They have a leg up going into that.
Yep, in the form of experience, credits, practicum experience, things like that.
And they can start working while they're going to the university.
Absolutely.
Nice. That's very, very helpful. So what has the interest been like? Is there usually a wait list or a lottery system? How have you found the student interest to be over the years?
That's a great question. I'll use an interesting example. We really work hard to make sure that every program is an incredible opportunity. We want all of the students we admit to feel like they have their hands on an amazing opportunity. But we also have to get really good at communicating that opportunity to them. When I first arrived at CTEC, I just completed my 9th school year. And CTEC had been open for 2 years, and there were 4 programs in place. And one of them was our manufacturing program. But at the time, its name was commercial manufacturing, and young people didn't know what those words meant. And there were very few students in the program, just very, very tiny class sizes in the program. And we had to really learn how to publicize these opportunities, communicate that competitive advantage, and show people what that program had to offer. Now, it's full with a waiting list for next year.
That's amazing. So going back to what employers are expecting or what their stereotype of this next generation is, what do you think would surprise them the most about this current generation of 17 and 18-year-olds?
I think what would surprise people the most is that this generation on the surface, broad strokes, appears very unmotivated.
Right.
And that's actually not the case. I do not believe these young people are less motivated than we were. Their world and their reality and their situation is different. When they get their hands on something they care about, they'll move mountains. It's amazing. They will advocate. They are persistent. They will spend hours and hours working hard. And I think their motivators are different. And to be really fair to this generation, I don't think I was more motivated. I performed higher than the average young person in this generation because I was terrified that if I didn't meet the potential my parents knew I had, they would ground me or take away everything I ever loved. And so these young people are parented differently, and those expectations are not set necessarily by their families. Their motivation doesn't come from the threat of ruining their way
Fear.
of life, which is certainly how I was motivated as a youth. Their motivation really comes from that intrinsic interest and passion that they have. And so when you see what looks like unmotivated youth, they're not operating in their area of passion. When they are, you will see a radically different young person. And I think that knowing that, I would hope would give encouragement to employers, because what employers really should be looking for are the young people who have a passion for what they do, what their company is trying to accomplish.
Right.
Because they'll move mountains if you get them on your payroll. However, they will have no idea how to shake a hand. They may not know what professional communication looks like. And they need the opportunity to be taught those things. I think the way that employers onboard is going to be really important in the coming years, because those young people, aside from the work we do with professional skills at CTEC, I don't think they're going to see people coming in with those skills, and it doesn't mean they can't do it.
Right.
It means they need to learn them.
They need to be taught. If they haven't had a job before, if they don't know what the expectations are, they need to be shown that, and that they're teachable.
Absolutely.
They're still teachable.
Absolutely.
Great. So in that sense, what are some strengths you see in this next generation that maybe is not widely known?
I think certainly advocacy is something that this generation has. So they're going to be able to advocate and communicate what they need and things like that. And that can be a strength. It can come off as whining, but if it can be channeled properly, it can be a strength, because if you equip your employees with what they need to do their job well and do it successfully, because you know what those needs are and they've advocated, that can be a huge strength. I see people who can, this generation, if they are passionate about something, will put in endless hours. They will put in endless hours trying to make something work that they really care about. I see a lot of creativity from this generation, and you might think that's not the case because AI can do a lot of the heavy lifting for them. But when they are truly passionate about something, that's where you can really tap into some of those strengths.
Yeah, I have a 12-year-old, a 17, and an 18-year-old, and I find that they have almost a disdain for AI. They want to do things themselves. They want to learn how to manipulate the software, the program, or the coding. For whatever reason, they just find AI to be, at least, generative AI to be very lazy, which I found very interesting from my perspective, because, I thought they would be all on board with that, but it's very different. They have a very different mentality of things.
Absolutely. I've seen the same thing, a disdain for AI among some of our young people. And it's interesting. I feel like they embrace it if it's a task that they're not interested in, and AI can make it quicker and easier. But if it's something that they truly care about, they don't want that shortcut. They don't want a surface level, response or product.
Yeah, they want to learn to do it themselves and figure it out themselves, and then they're proud of it. They're proud of the product.
Right, and they want to infuse their own creativity into it.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. And they don't see the AI does it right, does what they have in their brain justice. So, yeah, I see that too in my family. So I understand that CTEC has a hiring fair. Is that every year?
That is. We do that in May, mid-May, when our seniors are close to graduation. It's really incredible to see someone land their first real career opportunity, high wage, high demand job with one of our industry partners. It's such a rewarding experience for both the partners and for our young professionals. It's a day in May where we bring dozens of industry partners onto our campus, and they can occupy the vendor floor and share the opportunities they have available with our young people. And again, we train our young professionals to truly interact. They're handing out their resumes, they're shaking hands, they're asking questions about your company because they've researched it in advance. For a lot of our vendors, they say, this is the most fun I've ever had at a career fair, because they're so engaged with me. And that doesn't happen by accident. That's the training that my staff does with our young professionals. But then a lot of them will then on that day schedule interviews right there and return the following week to conduct them. So for employers, it can be really efficient, because imagine how many young people you can meet in one location in a short amount of time.
Right.
Have that initial screening conversation where you get a sense that they're a good fit, and then come back the next week and line up those interviews.
That's amazing. So you, it's part of your curriculum to prepare them for the interview process, the resume, all of those things.
Yes, they each leave with a portfolio, a professional portfolio.
Wow.
And so to graduate from CTEC, they have to have a functional resume, cover letter. They have to demonstrate that they know how to write a professional email. These are such important skills. They participate in mock interviews.
Nice.
These are career preparation skills that they're just not receiving in other places.
No, I don't think I ever received that until I went looking for it at a career center on a college campus kind of thing. I had to go look for it and seek it out.
It's a huge, what we refer to at CTEC as competitive advantage. It's a huge competitive advantage for them to leave with these things. And then that is CTEC wide. And then what differs in their portfolio program to program is what else is in it. So if you're in auto body, you're going to have before and after photos of automotive details or auto repairs that you've done, paint jobs that you've done, things like that. In construction, you're going to have images of wiring you've run in a temporary housing unit, or the home that you've constructed, things like that.
That's amazing. So when you're having this hiring for, what are students really looking for when they are researching their potential employers? What are they hoping to find?
It really varies. For a lot of our 11th graders, they're really looking to land summer employment as they're going to be rising seniors, in the fall. And then for a lot of our seniors, they're looking for actual career opportunities. We have a partner in residential construction, Sladen Constructors, Inc. We've had several students the last few years land a $51 an hour internship.
Wow.
$51 an hour internship. And then for many of them, successful completion of that leads to a job offer, a high wage job offer at the end of that internship.
That's amazing. That's my 18-year-old is looking to join the military, and they don't pay a great wage, but it's like more money than he's ever known or seen, or so. I can't imagine what it is to be an 18-year-old getting a $51 an hour kind of offer. That must be amazing and mind-blowing for them.
Absolutely. In addition to the professional portfolio and career readiness things that we focus on at CTEC, each student also, often with the help of our industry partners, they get that financial literacy education as well. So understanding what percentage of your income should reasonably go to your rent or mortgage,
right?
And it shouldn't be 100%, guys. Don't look for an apartment that takes your whole monthly paycheck. What percentage should go to savings? What are the hidden costs, such as utilities or insurance or things like that?
Yeah, those are skills that I don't think most 18-year-olds fresh on their own would even have a clue to think about.
It's true.
Yeah, it's even if you're going off to college, you still have mom and dad kind of helping you through that and helping you through, okay, have you thought about this and that and this and that? So having that educational experience, while you're in school is, I think, invaluable.
It really is. Otherwise, they can land these opportunities and not make the most of them if they don't have that financial literacy.
Yeah, and at that point, some of these kids are probably able to help their family members, with those kinds of income. So it can be really life-changing.
It really can.
That's amazing.
And I think that's why our team loves the work we do so much. Oftentimes, you don't get to see the results of your effort, but at the end of the school year or when they come back and tell us what they're doing, we get to really see the results. One of the coolest things, we talked about the importance of industry partners at CTEC.
Mm-hmm.
When our industry partners come back, and among the crew that they bring for our industry days are our own alum working at those companies, it's like a bonus paycheck for educators.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. It must be full of pride.
It just hits the heart. It's incredible.
It's like your own kid,
It is.
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's see here. What advice would you give a small business owner who wants to create a workplace that's welcoming to this younger generation?
I think there's so much value. A small business owner started with a dream. They started with a vision. They put in a lot of effort to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes as the employer, we fail to share that with young people. But when you get a young person passionate about that vision,
mm-hmm.
about your brand,
mm-hmm.
And about the importance of their role. So let's say that you're a small business owner and you're hiring this young person to be a cashier, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that young person knows you're the first face people see when they walk in the door, your job is to make them feel this way, to provide them with this experience. When they leave after interacting with you, we want customers to say this. I think sharing the vision, not just the technical parts of the job,
mm-hmm.
will pay huge dividends. And then the employability or professional skills like we talked about, I think making sure to break that down. If you're a small business owner and you want that young person to make people feel welcome when they walk in the door, you need to show them exactly what that looks like,
mm-hmm.
model it for them, give them feedback on that.
Yeah.
If that looks like eye contact, if that looks like a certain professional greeting, that onboarding, I think employers often take things for granted that seem like common sense.
Yes.
And these young people don't know. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know. But I think getting them passionate and excited about your company, your vision, your brand, and the role they play in it, it gets at the motivation that might appear to be lacking. And then being really specific in onboarding about what those expectations look like, I think that's how employers win with this generation.
So do you think this generation needs to feel a sense of connection with the job that they're doing? It's not just punch in and do a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the motivation for them, is what you're saying.
Right. And they won't necessarily do a good job just because you're the boss. I think
mm-hmm.
they really need to understand their purpose and their value. And if you're hiring them, they have purpose and value. They just need to really know what it is.
To understand it.
That's right. And they really need feedback. And they need positive feedback when they're hitting the mark. Mm-hmm. And they need constructive feedback when you want them to change something.
I get the sense that this generation is much more purpose-driven than I think my generation was, which is interesting. I find that very interesting and very almost affirming that they lead with their heart.
Absolutely. I think we were a little bit more compliance-driven,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, definitely. We had fear. That's the difference between a fear and motivation.
That's right.
But I hold a lot of hope for that because I think leading with your heart can only do great things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about business partnerships. So a small business who may not have a whole bunch of opportunities, how can they still connect with you or support your mission?
When we first engage with a prospective industry partner, what we really love to do is have them come tour CTEC first,
mm-hmm.
because there's so many different ways to engage. And when you see it, you're thinking, ooh, how can I engage here? We are able to give examples of how different partners can engage, and I'll provide a few. But when you step onto our campus during the school year, our young professionals conduct the tours.
Oh, okay.
We train them to do that. It's a great
Nice.
chance for them to practice their professional skills. And I can tell people we do this, but when they see it in action, they get really excited and they start thinking, okay, industry partners have impacted these young people in these different ways. where might my connection be? And hopefully that's going to be a mutually beneficial connection. So if they don't hire, dozens of people each year, that doesn't mean that there can't be a strong connection and a value add. We've had people plug in, for example, these financial literacy and adulting lessons that we teach. A lot of times our industry partners will come and provide those.
Okay.
So a small business owner in a salon might be teaching our cosmetology students some of the nuances about renting a space versus being an employee in a salon. Inventory management, client retention, things like that. And that salon might only need people, once every couple of years, but they're forming that connection. And when they do need someone, they've got a front row seat to who might fit in their salon's branding and vision. Right. And also they're adding value to all the young professionals in the program at the same time. So industry partners can plug in just so many different ways.
That they shouldn't feel limited at all by their size or...
Absolutely. We have industry partners who will, when our students, when they're operating as young professionals and they complete a large project, we love to have them present it not just to their teacher for a grade, because that's what children in school do, but to our industry partners for feedback. An example I used earlier, our residential construction and home design students, as seniors, they design a home for a given lot in our community. And instead of just submitting that to teachers for a grade, they present that to a panel of industry professionals, and those professionals select the one that will literally be built the following year.
Oh, I see.
So a small company that might not be hiring could serve on that panel, provide that feedback, give those young professionals, and even the ones whose homes aren't chosen, that is an incredible learning experience for them. To design that home, to prepare that presentation, to practice it, and to give feedback, from an architect or a design builder or a general contractor in our community. So there's so many ways that they can add value.
So even if you're not a small business owner, but you are an industry professional, maybe you work for a part of a company, but you're an architect or a stylist, you can still add value.
Absolutely. We have district attorneys who, for Marion County, who come in and coach our young professionals in criminal justice for their mock trial.
Oh, nice.
So there's just so many different ways to become involved.
So I don't know how to ask this question. If it seems like the kids at your school are exceptional and they're extraordinary, and they will impress anyone who comes to visit. It's not that you're hand selecting the exceptional students that come in. Your education, do you feel like any student that applies can be that exceptional or that impressive?
It's such a great question. A week or so ago, we had what we call signing day. And this is when our incoming cohort, so the 10th graders who signed, who are going to be our 11th graders next year, came to our campus for signing day. And it's our first chance to meet them. And it's such a great reminder for me and the CTEC team, because they don't know how to shake a hand yet. They feel really uncomfortable. Their parents are so excited, and my staff team is so excited. And we try to talk and engage with them, and they can barely string two sentences together. And part of it's just nerves, but part of it is that they haven't learned professional communication. Yeah. Their handshakes are an abomination. We teach that the first week of school, but how are they to know if they haven't had the chance to learn? The practice is huge, and what we see is the growth. So one of the things I love about CTEC is we don't have a canned group of kids that we pull out when guests come. Every student in the program will field tours through their program during their time there. And we really rotate, and you might come in and a lot of our young professionals are going to impress you. And you may go into a program, and a couple of the young professionals who greet you in that program, you might get a real awkward young professional who's still learning, and that's okay. Generally speaking, you're going to see passion, you're going to see engagement, you're going to see great handshakes, you're going to get eye contact, you're going to get people communicating about what they're doing every day in their program and why they're so excited about it. And when you get that awkward one, that's how you know that we really are doing the work, because they're not all at that polished state yet.
Yeah.
But the growth they make is incredible.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that 2 years is a lot of time, but I mean, to start from not knowing how to do a handshake to being able to give a professional tour, that's a huge amount of growth.
It is. And every single one of them is an ambassador for their program. If they want to be the person who conducts the entire building tour, they apply for that, and we train them. And when we train them on how to tell their own personal CTEC story. Even though I have the most capable team you've ever seen, I still train the ambassadors myself because I love it so much and I want them to know how important their job is to me. So the building ambassadors, they need to build rapport over time because they're going to take you through the whole building. They're going to spend an hour and a half with you. And I want them to really connect to the visitors, and they'll tell their own personal CTEC story. And so often it takes one of a few paths. A lot of them will say, I used to be so shy, so scared, so timid. My 9th grade teachers would never believe that you were going to let me lead a tour through this building because I didn't speak at all. So a lot of the time it's bottled up potential that lacks the confidence to come out. And a lot of times that's what they need, and that's the gift we give them. Other times it's more of the I once was lost but now I'm found story. So we have young professionals who will say, I was a naughty 9th grader.
Oh.
My teachers would never have thought you'd trust me with the tour group because I would get into mischief and make poor decisions. But now I've learned to harness my talent, my energy, and use it to be professional. So there's just so much growth. A lot of them, maybe they were great students and maybe they weren't shy, but they really just didn't have a direction or a passion. Yeah. And now they can communicate that because they found it. So the growth is huge. And these are skills that are teachable and transferable.
And I love that you're not giving them a canned speech, that you're really talking to them about connecting with whoever they're touring with and being themselves, which is amazing because I feel like a lot of times, even now, we put on an employee persona, and it can be hard to connect with people that way.
It's so true. And if an industry partner, people are busy working professionals, and if we want them to be excited and inspired to spend some time at CTEC, they need to believe their time will matter and see what's happening on our campus. And I can't think of a better way to do that than to connect with the young people as part of that tour.
Yeah. Well, if someone would like to learn more about CTEC, how would they connect with you or learn more about the school itself?
They can get a glimpse of our 10 programs on our website. If they look up Salem-Keizer Public Schools, CTEC Salem-Keizer, and our website has a contact page where they can request a tour or request involvement as an industry partner. And
if they have questions about what that might look like, you have people that can answer all of those questions, I'm assuming.
In our case, because we care so much about industry involvement, it's one of our 4 pillars and it's one of our priorities. We actually have a position through the Salem Chamber. We have business liaisons.
Oh, wow.
And their whole job is really to connect with industry partners, schedule them, infuse them into our programs in a meaningful way.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I love the conversation and I love what you're doing out there at CTEC. It's amazing. And I don't think a lot of kids, unless you have a kid in that age group, I don't think a lot of people realize that opportunity is there. So thank you so much for coming down and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for listening to the Business Edge presented by Central Willamette Credit Union. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't miss any future conversations with local leaders, entrepreneurs, and community partners helping businesses thrive throughout Oregon. Thanks again. Have a good day.
The information provided here is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any financial decisions.